Well, hey, it's Lynn Brown, and welcome to the Gritty Women Global Podcast. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, this week has been wild. I just do want to welcome anyone listening in for the first time. And let me introduce myself. I'm a results coach. But let me tell you, prior to becoming a coach, I was a world-class warrior and a people pleaser. And then in my spare time, I was literally trapped by the opinions of other people. And then one day I just got sick and tired of being sick and tired. I don't know if any of you have ever been there. Maybe you're there right now today. Maybe that's why you tuned in. But I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. And so I just drew a line in the sand. And it was that day that things began to change. And now looking back, I know why they did, because I started looking at things differently. And it's like that quote, the Wayne Dyer quote, when you change the way that you look at things, the things that you look at change. And y'all, that is what happened. I can't explain it any other way, but I just decided that day that I was not going to look back anymore, that my future was in the present, in the day that I had in front of me and in the days to come. And so that's when everything began to change. So we're just going to jump right on in, and I'll tell you, last weekend we came in from our 2-week beach vacation, dream come true event. I've never been at the beach for 2 weeks, and that is a result in itself of just sustained growth over the last 7 years and realizing that was a possibility and then making it happen. So that was pretty cool. So we're trying to get the sand out of everything, the beach buckets put up, everything back in order, and then knock at the door, and life showed up, and I was just kind of I didn't expect the visitor, and into the door walks COVID. It wasn't on my things to do list. I had a list of things that I was going to jump right out of the gate and jump into, things that I had, huge goals that I'm working on, building a team with my wellness company, and just all these things, and COVID shows up. Now, let me just go ahead and say, if you're wondering, yes, I got the vaccine back in May, I believe, and I will tell you that Monday, when my healthcare provider looked at me, the first words were, I'm very glad that you got the vaccine. 10 years ago, I had a heart attack, and of course I'm walking in total health, on my way to walking in total health, but I'm very, very healthy. I've released 25 pounds, and my heart is in great shape. I no longer even have to go to the cardiologist. But saying all that, at the same time, I just felt like it was the best thing for me. And little did I know then how rampant it would be, and even in our community. So I say all that to say that I'm doing great. I'm feeling totally fine today. it was very mild. They were exactly right. They said that the vaccine, there could be breakthrough cases, but it would be very mild. So in my case, I'm not saying that's the case for everybody. I'm not a doctor. And so that's my disclaimer here. I am not a doctor. But for me, it was like a sinus headache, sinus infection. But I have been working on my health intentionally since my heart attack for 10 years, but in the last 2 years, really leaning into health, my day-to-day lifestyle, what I eat, how I work out, supplements I take, etc. So, saying all that, I can tell you that this week, well, last week now, it's a new day today, but I have never experienced what I experienced. 4 people that I know went to be with Jesus. Now, I've never had that happen to me, and I know that I'm blessed, because there are a lot of you probably listening that have experienced that kind of grief or death, and in a week's time, or in a 5-day period actually, but I never have. And it was just really a moment for me. I really thought into that, and I thought, well, what just happened? What is happening? What just happened? And how can I come out of this bigger, better, stronger? How can I even encourage and impact and influence other people to also come out of this place that we're in? I mean, I'll be honest. At the beginning of spring this past year and going into early summer, I was thinking, here we go. We're moving on out of this. This COVID, this pandemic is winding down. Well, we didn't know what was ahead, and we really never do. Anyway, so that's kind of where I am right now. I'm hearing every day people just knowing that they need to make changes, knowing they need to improve their health. Some people are totally unaware of the fact that they need to or know how to. It's not really that they know how. It's just they don't know how they're gonna get the initial motivation. I really use that word lightly, but to start. I mean, that'll start you, but the discipline is what's going to keep you on track. And so many people that I hear now are talking about, these underlying conditions and things that honestly could have improved circumstances. I'm not pointing fingers here. I gained 7 of the 25 pounds back, so I'm losing the 7 pounds right now. So I'm not pointing fingers at all. But I think we have to have that conversation. I think we have to look at our overall health. And we know as a country, our nation is not operating at our potential as far as health goes. We know that. I mean, you can sugarcoat it. That's a poor choice of words here, but obesity is rampant in our country. I think we have to look at the root causes of that, and we have to look at, everybody's got to have that one-on-one conversation with themselves and realize the value that your creator, I'm a person of faith, but the value that God has placed on your life. He created you in his image. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. You have so much value. You have such a gift to give to the world. And if we are not operating at our best health, we can't even use the gifts that we have. And it's not enough just to say, well, whatever happens, happens. It's all in God's hands. Yes, and no. Because he has gifted us with brain and intellect and freedom to make these choices. And I'll tell you, I've made some bad choices in a lot of areas of my life. But I'm so grateful that I did have that wake-up call in 2010. I mean, it was in ICU, and it wasn't fun to hear those words, but I'm so thankful I had this chance to make some changes that need to be made. And as I've just said, I'm still making changes. I'm still working on becoming the best version and becoming healthy so that I can serve the world. So for the last 2 years, I've written in my journal my gratitude, and then I write my 7 dreams as if they've already happened. And one is walking in total health. And one thing was that I wanted to improve was the area of sleep, and the other thing was just the overall strength of my body, my core, so that my back would be strong and my legs would be strong and my arms would be strong because I've got some big goals for my life, and I want to be around here until I'm at least 120. I mean, that's my goal. So I've got a lot of playing to do with my grown kids and my grandkids. So I got to be healthy. I got to be strong. And that sounds so simple, doesn't it? But up until now, my very best thinking on in these areas was not enough because I had not achieved that. Now, my sleep, I have finally hacked the sleep code. Finally, after 10 years of not really sleeping consistently every night, I am sleeping now. So, no, during COVID, I did not sleep that great, but it wasn't because I didn't feel bad. I don't really know what it was, but thank goodness I'm back now, able to work out, and I'm totally back to normal. So that's a good thing. But you gotta value who you are and value your life in order to stick to these types of goals. We know that we're supposed to take care of our bodies. We know that our bodies are, where Holy Spirit lives. I mean, our body's a temple of the Holy Spirit. We know that. That's in the Bible verses we read. We sing those songs in Sunday school. But it's almost like, that's just a song. But it's really the truth. And now, I mean, every day, more than a day, every second, every hour, I'm getting a text, a notification. Somebody's calling me like, "Did you hear about so and so? They have COVID." I mean, I have friends right now that are going through it. I mean, doing breathing treatments and everything, the whole nine. And you know, we have to look at what we can do individually. I mean, we can't point our fingers, but what can I do? What can Lynn Brown, what can you do to make yourself healthy? Well, I can choose make better choices, right? Some things some things are preventable. And I'm not trying to be, you know, a hard nose here. I'm not trying to be not be sensitive to this, but the reality of it is we've got to have these conversations. If I know that whatever, my sister and I were just talking about palm oil. If I know that that is a product that can alter DNA and cause cellular damage, then why do I put it in my mouth? I have some peanut butter right now that has that in it. So after this podcast, I'm going to go throw it in the garbage. That's a change I can make. I can get a healthier alternative to that. But I have to be willing to do it. Nobody's coming for me. So what does it take to wake up? I mean, I personally, I keep saying this. I'm going to say it every day probably. But I think we're in the ultimate wake-up call right now. People always say, oh, I had a wake-up call a couple years ago, whatever. Oh, that was a wake-up call. I think we're slap dab in the middle of a wake-up call. I think round one of the pandemic of COVID, when it hit in March of 2020, I think that was a pop quiz for the world to see how we were doing and how our systems were set up. And I think I don't know that we scored so hot on that one. But I think this is a wake-up call. This is the second round. This is a wake-up call. Like, okay, so we've coasted through this for a year and a half now, and now look, we're back where we were, in some ways worse off than we were. I think we all have the opportunity to write a new story right now. We're all in the same playing field. So what does it look like? What does the best version of you look like? Not the old story, not the one that eats the whole bag of potato chips or the whole bag of Danish wedding cookies, Lynn Brown. Not that one. Not that story. Not that story of, oh, you always start a diet every Monday. Ha 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 ha. And not that of all the broken promises you've made yourself. I'm going to go work out. I'm going to do crunches, blah, blah, blah. Not that story, but a new story. What are you committed to thinking about? Lynn Brown, what am I committed to thinking about? So what about your health? On a scale of 1 to 10, really, be honest with yourself. Where are you? Right now, on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you? So many people are like, I don't have time. I don't have time. And we know I don't even have to say it, do I? Pretty much we find time for what we want to do. We do the things that we want to do. And whether you like to hear it or not, I used to hate it when people say this to me, but we all have the same amount of time in a day, and we do. So what about your activity level? Would you like to increase your activity level? What's going to have to happen in order to do that? Netflix, TV, scrolling, Snapchat, I don't know. Binge watching, I don't know what it is for you. What about drinking more water? Maybe get a special water container, a special pitcher, or a special, they have some really cool water jugs that have like 64 ounces in it. Could you fill that up every day? Could you create that habit? Instead of trying to break all the bad habits, just create a new one. Could you fill that up in the morning and put it in a place where you see it every day and make sure you got half of it gone by noon and the rest by the afternoon? Could you do it? Losing weight, gaining weight, I don't know, lowering your blood pressure. What needs to improve? I mean, it's so interesting to me because we're so willing to accept the old versions. It's like that's so easy to play the role of the old characters and just say the old scripts over and over. That's easy. But I want you to think about rewriting those and doing some things that your future self is going to thank you for. a year from now? What if a year ago we had all done this? A year ago, when the pandemic hit, it's even longer than that, but what if people had really leaned into their health then? I wonder how this crisis that we're experiencing now could have been different. But I've heard so many people, and a lot of times from their ICU rooms, saying, please do this, and please go do this. I put this off. I let fear control me. Could you just drink one extra glass of water today? Maybe not the 64 ounces. Could you just drink one extra glass a day? Maybe substitute the whatever, the sweet tea, the Coke, the soda, the whatever, the tequila. I don't know what it is. Whatever your coffee. I don't know what your thing is. Whatever your thing is, could you substitute one of those things or just add one glass of water? Could you walk around the block? If you have stairs in your house, could you just walk up and down the stairs? If you don't do this, what could happen? If you don't do anything in the next year, what could happen? So if we continue doing what we're doing now and we don't improve, we're not going to stay the same. That's just a bold-faced lie. We're not going to remain the same. We go backwards. So just remember that. I mean, this has to be non-negotiable. You got to love yourself enough that nothing's going to stop you from achieving these goals, these health goals. Without your health, you have nothing. It is wealth. Health is wealth. And it's so amazing to me how many people, are just very strong and faith-filled believers, but their bodies don't reflect that it's not obvious that they value their lives based on how they treat their bodies. I mean, to me, we're one decision away from the shift, from the pivot. The thing that you've been hesitating on, putting off. I used to wait till Monday. Everything happened on Monday. I would wait. Every program I ever started on Monday and ended about noon on Monday. But you had to make a decision to take your life to the next level. Because let me just give you this example. And even though we don't like desperation, that word desperate just sounds like anxiety, But imagine this. Just imagine this. If your grown children went missing, what would you do? You would run out of your house. You would not care if you didn't have the perfect outfit or your eyeliner was on or whatever. You would not care about the plan of how you were going to start looking for them. You would start searching. And then if they were, younger kids, toddlers or whatever, you would probably be even more panic struck and you wouldn't care what, where, when. You would just go start searching. You would take massive action. So you don't have to have the perfect plan with this either to improve your health. We're all doing something that's healthy for us. Maybe it's just brushing your teeth, but that's a healthy habit. How could you improve that? Oh, you could floss twice a day. So that's an example, but you're already doing some healthy things. So just create some more to go along with that. It's not that hard. This is not rocket science. But it takes that type of desperation for us to stick to our focus here. You'll find the time to do it, even if it's early. And I get it. Some people just can't say they can't do that. But there are probably people right now in hospitals all over this country, in the world for that matter, that would honestly love to have the opportunity to do some of these things. So September 1st, we're launching the Gritty Global Wellness Challenge. It's for the last 4 months of the year. It's going to be 120 days of gritty impact in the area of wellness. So it's like Operation Desperation. Not that we're desperate and meaning scarcity desperate, but we're going with a desperate, just relentless run toward health. I just got an update just minutes ago that somebody I know right now is on a ventilator, just been put on a ventilator. This is happening in real time. This is what I'm talking about. This is a wake-up call. Most of us are bombarded every day by distraction after distraction. And it's so funny because we allow that. So what convenient distractions do you allow? I know I can make a long list of them. There are plenty of convenient distractions that I have. And unfortunately, hoping it's going to change and thinking about it is not going to change it. It's going to take focused, intentional action. It's how I lost 25 pounds. I was so focused and so intentional. I planned out everything that went in my mouth. If I traveled, I planned it out. I took it with me. And guess how I gained 7 pounds back? Yep. Convenient distractions. I allowed on the holidays to kind of begin that process, and then it just lingered into January, February, and then a little bit more, and then all of a sudden, boom, 7 pounds. It's so funny to me how we allow ourselves to be distracted. I just wish I could somehow bottle up the ability to focus and sell that. I think the ultimate thing, the bottom line is, you never exceed the belief that you have. Whatever you think you're worth is what you believe. So I want you to consider, I want you to think about joining us for this last 120 days of 2021. We're going to finish strong so that we can set ourselves up for the best year yet ever. I don't know about you, but I'm ready for a good, strong, positive, healthy year. Here's a little secret. It really doesn't take that much to separate you from the pack. Seriously, if you watch any of the Olympics, you've seen these races. They're like 1/1000th of a millionth of a decimal 100th of an inch or less that the person wins. So I want you to be thinking about your target. Is it a mindset that's no longer broken, the bulletproof mindset, a gritty mindset? Is it releasing extra pounds? Is it working out at a new level, creating new healthy habits? Send me a message on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Email me. You can email me at Lynne, Lynne, at lynnebrown.net. Again, that's Lynne, Lynne, at lynnebrown.net. Or message me on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. And I'll give you the details on the Gritty Mindset Wellness Challenge that we're doing. And you want to get signed up before September 1st. There will be a couple of options for commitment level, and then there's going to be additional coaching that I'm going to just toss in there too. So it's a pretty, I'm going to sweeten the pot, but no calories. But until then, I want you to stay healthy. I want you to do something today your future self will thank you for. And remember, gritty is the new strong. God bless you all. I believe in you. I believe in the power of your dreams. Stay healthy, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Bye.